Hello again. I decided to dip into the viewer mail again. Let's see what we got. Hey, Muckster. I know you've read a lot of books. You worked in a library. I'm sure you're a big Tolkien fan. And I'll bet you loved the movie just as much as I did. How about we talk about that a little bit? This comes from Ignorant Fool in Omaha. Well, IF, you couldn't be more wrong. Well, yes, I have read a lot of books. Yes, I was a librarian. And yes, I love J.R.R. Tolkien. I had read the 4 books. I always include The Hobbit as more of a quad instead of a trilogy. But I'd read them at least 3 times before that guy decided to ever make movies out of them. And I'll tell you, I remember when I first saw that he was going to do The Lord of the Rings, and I was excited. I remember, I can remember online having conversations with people where we were talking about who would, be good actors for it. And I forget who people said for like Aragorn and stuff. I do remember a lot of people, I guess, didn't have faith in visual effects, and they kept naming, dwarves to play hobbits. But the one I specifically remember is people talking about Saruman, not Sauron, Saruman. And because, he had that powerful voice. And I can remember someone saying, well, who'd be perfect? James Earl Jones. If this was a little later, people would probably say Morgan Freeman, another great voice. But they said James Earl Jones. Wouldn't he be perfect for that? His voice would be perfect. And I said, you don't think it might get funny looks to have James Earl Jones playing Saruman the White? But anyway, there was a lot of excitement about it. And then I remember at the time I used to subscribe to Entertainment Weekly. And they did a big multi-page article about the film being filmed down there in, the suburbs of Australia, what some people call New Zealand. And I remember reading a thing where one of the actors said about how this guy, whose name I'm not going to use, was being so true to the books. Said, I said to him, well, couldn't we say this? And he said, oh, no. Page 148, it says that Frodo says this or whatever. And I thought, oh, I like this. Because so often movies, they'll take a great book and ruin it. Someday we'll talk about The Watchers by Dean Koontz. Anyway, so I was looking forward to it. And when the movie came out, I was excited to go see it, the first one. And I went to see it. And the very first big thing I thought of is, where the heck is Tom Bombadil? He's always my favorite character. And I thought, well, although I could forgive him for cutting out Tom because really he wasn't all that necessary to the whole story. He was an interesting character, interesting in the book. Um, but if you had to, obviously with the movie, you had to worry about time. And they couldn't very well spend 20, 30 minutes of the movie on Tom. His main contribution, really, to the continuance of the story was that was where the hobbits, except for Frodo, that was where they got their blades from. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read the damn books. If you're going to say you love Lord of the Rings, read the books. Anyway, so I forgave the thing with Tom. Then I remember as they're traveling and, they meet up with the elves. And that's when they first meet. No, I hope I don't get names wrong. It's a long time since I read the books. And I'll ruin my credibility here. I believe it was Arwen, right, that Liv Tyler played, the elf, who later on, she's Aragorn's girlfriend. But anyway, I'm pretty sure in the book they didn't meet her then. In the book, it was like she was at Elrond's and they didn't see her again until like the very end of the books. Anyway, this is what got me was, remember, they're getting chased by the Nazguls. And Frodo is on a horse and he's crossing the river that leads to Riverdale. And the Nazguls are chasing them on horses. This was before the Nazguls were flying. And I think he was only being chased by like 3 of them. But maybe it was just one. I don't remember for sure, but I'm thinking there was a couple of them. But I remember part of the point being if it was all 9, he'd have been screwed. But anyway, he stops in the middle of the river and he turns and he holds up Sting, Frodo's sword, and he tells him, stop where you are. And they did. And they ended up getting washed away in the river because Elrond had control of water. We find out later. I don't even know if it was addressed in Lord of the Rings or not. Or was it just in the Silmarillion that we find out that there's the 3 rings of power, that one is water, and that was entrusted to Elrond. The other was earth, and that was entrusted to Galadriel. And that's why we see some of the things that we saw happening at her home. And the other was fire, and that was Gandalf. But anyway, that was like Frodo's first big moment, was when he turned and stood up to the Nazgul. In the movie, they gave that line to Arwen. And you know why? It's because, hey, we just paid a lot of money to get Liv Tyler in this movie. We have to give her a bigger role than she has in the book. So that right off pissed me off. Because that was messing with the story. That wasn't like with Tom Bombadil saying, oh, well, we can't afford the time. And then there were other things in the books. I remember they totally changed the location of one of the battles, and they changed the way things happened. And my point is, I hated the movies. I know people love them. I hate them. I think people should read the books instead. And you know what I hated more than Lord of the Ring movies? The Hobbit. Whenever he decided to go and do a prequel with The Hobbit, and he somehow was stretching that book out into 2 parts. And I watched part 1, And it was a bigger mess than he did with the Lord of the Rings. It was like he wasn't just, changing some details or cutting some things out. It's like he was rewriting the whole story. You know? Who is so egotistical that they think they can rewrite J.R.R. Tolkien? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so my point is, oh, and by the way, to this day, I have still not watched part two of The Hobbit because it just, he so messed up part one and just where he was going with it. I don't even want to know what he did with part two. Which is a shame. I wish he'd have done a good job with it because I'd have loved to see Bilbo dealing with smog with the modern technology and that, with the special effects and all that. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on Lord of the Rings. And you are certainly welcome to disagree with me. I know a lot of people in this world are wrong and we got to put up with it. So go ahead and make comments or whatever. And, I won't argue with you in the comments. I'll just sit here and quietly call you an idiot to myself. I might comment if you agree with me. Anyway, I think I might do more stuff like this where I concentrate on one subject rather than trying to do my favorite movies or disfavorite movies or, broad like that. If there's something in particular, maybe cover a particular author, a particular, movie maker, stuff like that. Tell me, I mean, you don't have to make comments because I know the pros, they always say, leave a comment. I want to hear your comments. But they're doing it because that helps their algorithm and they make money off it. I will never be making money off of these. My God, I can't even get the 50 subscribers that I begged people for just so I could go live if I have to. There's no way I'll ever get like the 1,000 or whatever you need to monetize. And I wouldn't want to anyway, I don't think. Unless you could make a lot of money off it, Anyway, I was going to say though, I would enjoy comments and people saying, yeah, do more stuff like this, or hey, this is boring as hell. Don't ever do this again. Like I've said before, I will read the comments. I welcome criticism, but I won't promise that I'll follow your recommendations. Anyway, peace out.